Updates coming up from here at Newcastle, but let's take you to our commentary game on Talksport. It's the European champions, Manchester City, looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 in their defence of the crown. They're away to Young Boys. Here's former City captain and manager Stuart Pearce alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian. Well, if Istanbul brought Manchester City their elusive European crown and their place in footballing history, they're hungry for more. But where do you go after the Holy Grail? Well, this is the season that gives them the chance to deliver on 2 fronts, to become the team that's talked about forevermore. Plenty have tried and failed to win a 4th straight English League title, and no English side has ever retained the Champions League trophy. Now, to achieve either would be extraordinary and would require a little luck in running, and this Champions League group might constitute a helping hand to get them started. It's far from being the most arduous. City have already shown themselves to be comfortably superior to 2 of their 3 opponents, and tonight in Switzerland they aim to exert that authority again against a Young Boys side who won the double last season, but who already find themselves 5 points adrift of City, having played the same 2 teams. Victory here, and Pep's men could end the night 8 points clear of 3rd in the group, with 1 foot already in the knockout stages. The perfect fillip ahead of this weekend's Manchester derby. And we'll bring you every kick that counts from Switzerland tonight. We'll also keep you up to date with all of the domestic news as well. All the goals as they happen, including the first of the night at St Andrews. Dave Rowe.
Birmingham 0, Hull 1. A gift for Liam Delap. A dreadful mistake by Emmanuel Longaro. His back pass to Ruddy was far too short. Delap nipped in, went round the keeper and put the ball in the back of the net. Birmingham 0, Hull 1.
Liam Delap's 4th of the season, and not a good start in Wayne Rooney's first home game. Hull themselves without a win in 4, but leading by a goal to nil. Goal is still at Bristol City and Plymouth, Preston, Rotherham and Stoke, the other venues tonight. And we'll keep you up to date with all of the goals as they go in those games. A reminder of the teams from this one. Young Boys, Rachopi in goal, Bloom, Kamara, Benito and Garcia. Lauper anchors the midfield. Joel Montero, Ugrinic and Nias ahead of him. And Itten and Elia up front. City, Edison in goal, Akanji Diaz and Ake, Lewis and Rodri, Doku, Kovacic, Nunes and Grealish, and Erling Haaland, who's currently in the longest goal drought in the Champions League of his career. 5 games without a goal, but we'll be confident of ending that tonight. The referee is Morten Krug from Denmark, and we're underway. The Young Boys in their yellow shirts with black trim and black shorts, not dissimilar to a Borussia Dortmund kit. Manchester City in laser blue, or light blue should I say, shirts, white shorts, and they're kicking from left to right as we look at it. Ball laid back for Edison, and he will play it out towards the left-hand side of the City back line for Ake. It wasn't the best ball, and it was well won back by Joel Montero. Montero making his way to the edge of the penalty area. Slow start this from Manchester City. Shot comes in and Edison beats it away. Nunes heads it further clear from the edge of his own penalty area, and Manchester City then win a free kick as Haaland is fouled. But it only took 30 seconds for Young Boys to get a side of the Manchester City goal, Stuart.
Yeah, it certainly did, and credit to them. They were on the front foot, playing the ball forward, and it was a decent strike as well, and Edison right behind it, didn't want to hold it, just parried it back where it come from, basically.
Yeah, well struck by Ugrinic, who will play but ostensibly as a 10, but he'll drift out to the right-hand side as he does so. Edison has the ball back inside his own penalty area and will just take a few steps and then expertly angle the ball through the midfield for Nunes. Out wide towards Doku, playing on the right-hand side for Manchester City again tonight, getting towards the edge of the penalty area and winning the first corner as he fires the ball in and it hits Garcia and goes behind.
Yeah, we did wonder before the game which side Doku and Grealish will play, but certainly Grealish has kept his more naturalised position on that left-hand side, and Doku's certainly started on the right-hand side.
Doku made 6 appearances in the Champions League when he was just 18 back in his Rennes days. A couple of goals in his Manchester City career to date. Now Mateus Nunes will come across to take this corner. Doku's offering himself for the short one, 10 yards away. But it looks as though Nunes is going to swing it in towards the near post area, and a diving header goes wide. It was Rodri that came to meet it. It took an awkward bounce off the artificial surface on the edge of the 6-yard box and skated through a little towards Rodri, who ducked his head in It came to him more briskly than he anticipated, and it angled it wide.
Yeah, it was Diaz who was the initial runner at the near post. He took out the near post man and basically let the ball go, and Rodri, just as the ball bounced off the surface, he sort of half volleyed with his head just wide.
Here's Lewis in the midfield for Manchester City, and losing out as well, one back by Itten, who had a slightly less than successful spell at Ibrox for Rangers, but he's got it again now. Itten towards the edge of the penalty area. Joel Montero tries his luck, but that one is blocked, and Doku in a more central position is going to be able to bring it away, and he is then fouled. There's a goal at Ashton Gate. Lawrence Moura.
Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1. Nathan Broadhead, right-footed from the edge of the area, low and hard into the far corner. Super finish by the Welsh international. It's Bristol City 1, Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1.
And Ipswich 8 points adrift at the start of the night, but this one of 2 games that they have in hand on Leicester. And Broadhead now, the Tractor Boys' leading scorer of the season with 6. Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1, Birmingham 0, Hull 1. And no goals anywhere in the Champions League ties that have just kicked off. A reminder that final beat Lazio 3-1 earlier, Barcelona 2, Shakhtar 1 was the result in Spain. And an opportunity for Manchester City to bring it forth. First Champions League goal of the night has been scored at Parkhead. David Tanner.
And it's Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 0, and it's Kyogo Furuhashi scoring his second Champions League goal, his second goal in 2 games. Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 0.
4 minutes gone. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0. With Rico Lewis in the midfield. Flick to his right-hand side for Akanji. Won a couple of Swiss titles in his homeland with Basel. The young boys really have been able to come out of the shadow of Basel in the recent times. Did a fantastic job last season. Rafael Vicky, who took charge in the summer of 2022 and led them to the double in his first season. Former Werder Bremen, Atletico Madrid and Hamburg player, and having an excellent managerial career as well. But young boys in this group so far, just 1 point from the 2 games that they've played. Beaten 3-1 at home by Leipzig, and then drew 2-2 against Red Star Belgrade. They led that one at 2-1 with a couple of minutes to go, but conceded a late equaliser. The other game in this group tonight, taking place in Germany, with Leipzig heavy favourites to beat Red Star and move up to 6 points. A victory for Manchester City in this one will take them up to 9. There'll be a drop ball in the centre of midfield. Lewis playing the ball to his left-hand side, hit the referee, who tried to take evasive action but couldn't. And the free kick, or the drop ball, is swiftly taken and worked out towards the Manchester City left. And here's Grealish with attacking intent, and Nunes fires it over the bar on the half volley. First time that Grealish has had it, and he really ran at the young boy's back line, which is something that I know that you like to see him do. Took on Blum, forced him back, pulled it back, good delivery, and Nunes should have scored.
Well, exactly that. That's exactly what you want to see from Jack Grealish. As you rightly said, he's received it probably level with the 18-yard box, right on the touchline, but advanced with the ball, got his head up and laid a brilliant ball into the box around the penalty spot. And Nunes, on the half volley, just couldn't keep it down.
But still yet to score a Champions League goal in his career, Mateus Nunes. It's his 9th time in the competition tonight. As Jeremy Doku has it, coming in off the right flank with a little flick of the right leg, just trying to deceive Nias, who's playing his defensive cover in front of the Swiss left-back Ulysses Garcia. Well, it's Garcia that slides in strongly and wins the throw. It's done well to flick it off Doku, and it goes out of play. But Manchester City using the width wherever they can so far this evening. Young boys generally a team that like to play pretty long, get the ball at the back and not shy in playing a 40-50 yard ball forward. There's one now from Garcia, but he just didn't quite have the legs to get over Akanji's head. They'll try and release Itten whenever they can, but Manchester City dealing with that threat on this particular occasion. We're 7 minutes in. It's Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0 on Talksport.
Yeah, what City have done really well. Young boys want to get players in advanced areas to press the back line when they're playing out or playing in sort of early mid-third. And City have done particularly well, especially Nunes, getting in good positions beyond the midfield players to receive and start attacks.
Those are thoughts of Stuart Pearce, the former Manchester City captain and manager. Alongside me, Jim Bradford here on Talksport. Got more live football coming up for you tomorrow from the Europa League. West Ham unbeaten in 17 European ties. A record for an English team, and they take that record to Olympiacos, hoping to maintain their 100% start of the Europa League group. It's a 5:45 kickoff, and it's over on Talksport 2 tomorrow tea time. Here's Rodri in possession in the Swiss rain. Play forward towards Ake. Ake out to the Manchester City left-hand side. Grealish waiting for the ball to be played into him. Goes instead towards Kovacic. Kovacic getting a return ball now from Rodri, and he'll just play it back inside his own half. Work the passing angle towards Rodri again, and back it goes for Ake once more. It's the first meeting that these two sides ever. Manchester City have played Swiss opposition on a couple of occasions in the past, as Haaland tries to bulldoze his way through, but it'll be cleared by Blum inside his own penalty area. Young boys beat Manchester United in the group 2 years ago, you might remember, a 2-1 victory on this ground, followed by a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford. They also beat Spurs back in the day, but those are the only 2 wins they've ever had against English opposition. 0-0, 8.5 gone. Slightly slow start from Manchester City through the first 2-3 minutes or so, but they've recovered since then and look far away the more polished, effective team with 9 on the clock at 0-0.
Yeah, they certainly do. The early onslaught of young boys and that early effort is diminished slightly, and City have got into a nice little rhythm now, possession-based as you would expect, and receiving between the lines particularly well.
Ake's got it. Works it back inside his own penalty area. Sure, when this draw was made, the stated intention would have been to try and get a full 18 points from the group, something that Manchester City have never done. Here's Doku towards the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed ball swung in. Grealish trying to head it back down. Haaland couldn't quite react quickly enough. It wasn't going to get to him anyway. Camara can hook it away from in front of the goalkeeper. And it'll go out towards the Manchester City left. But again, finding the space between the lines as Stewart was detailing. Down it comes for Doku once more. Bottom right-hand corner of the penalty area. Play back towards Akanji. Kanji into the feet of Nunes to Doku once more. Doku with a chance to try and take on his man. Played it inside. And it was given away. And young boys are going to be able to bring it clear up their right flank with the pacey Blum, the right back. Down towards the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. John Montero has it now. Poor touch, but able to poke it away from Grealish nonetheless. And young boys will work it back towards halfway. Let's get an update from St James's. How Newcastle been going in the opening 10 minutes? Steve Harness.
It's Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0 after 10 minutes, but I don't know how. Both sides, this is a game of basketball. Either side going. Nick Pope has just made 2 unbelievable saves. Sabitzer with a long run, left foot shot, well saved, and the follow-up by Fulcrook. How he's kept it out, I've got no idea. And Anthony Gordon has just made a great run down the left, cut inside, bang, shot, and well saved by the Dortmund keeper. How's this 0-0? Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0.
Young boys 0, Manchester City 0 in the game we're concentrating on tonight. Lewis trying to block a cross coming in from Elia. Who got the last touch there? There's a goal kick, I think. As Lewis slid in, Elia just trying to nudge the ball past him, got towards the byline. We're having a look at a replay here which will say whether the decision is correct, and Lewis had just got the studs of his right boot to the ball and flicked it into Elia and back out of play for it has been given as a corner. The replay suggested it should have been a goal kick perhaps. The corner will be taken on the left by Ulysses Garcia, the Swiss international left back. Swung in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Up go the heads. It will clear the penalty area, and then the referee spotted an infringement, and it's a free kick which will be taken by City inside their own box. 0-0.
Yeah, just a nudge there at the far post on Rico Lewis. He just went down. Referee was right on the spot to give the free kick. But it's one of those games, it's settled down a little bit. Young boys, you just have to take the sting out of them. Typical of when you go away from home, take the sting out the home side, and City seem to have done that in these early stages.
They've got a good record here, as you would expect, particularly on an artificial surface. They've only lost 1 in the last 22 games on their home turf. That was the defeat to RB Leipzig on match day 1. They're unbeaten at home in 18 going into that one. Here's Grealish. for City. Rodri chipping it over the top. Too long for Nunez. It drifted over his head and goes into the hands of the goalkeeper, Anthony Racioppi. And he bowls it down to the left-hand side for Garcia, and Young Boys will try and build from the back once more.
Yeah, Young Boys certainly, they'll build from the back, but if they're pressured at all, as you rightly say, they're quite happy to go from back to front quite readily.
Now the other game in this group that sees Leipzig lead Red Star Belgrade by a goal to nil. The Red Star have won their last 3 games in all competitions. Leipzig only one of the last 4, but it's the Germans that lead. And so this group as it stands right now, City 7 points, Leipzig 6. And Young Boys have 2, Red Star Belgrade 1. Celtic, remember, leading Atletico Madrid by a goal to nil. Newcastle 0-0. Championship goals so far scored by Hull at Birmingham and Ipswich at Bristol City. Everything else is 0-0. Here's Akanji in possession. Slip to his left-hand side for Rodri. Now the dreadlock Ake able to bring the ball forward down the Manchester City left. Grealish came to receive it. Kovacic made a run down the touchline for him. Grealish just involved in a slight collision with the right-back Blum, who stayed down injured for a moment, but the referee was well placed and he allowed play to continue. Kanji going back inside his own half for Ruben Dias. City finding it very easy to string the passes together at the moment.
Yeah, Doku's got a reasonable amount of the ball at these early stages, but I've got to say, Elio's done a really good job in doubling up on occasion as well and helping his fullback out.
Now Benito stepped up from the defensive line for Young Boys, and he has gone straight in the back of Mateus Nunes. And then when the free kick is given against him, he immediately goes over to the referee and indicates that he felt that Blum was elbowed by Grealish.
Yeah, we're just looking at the replay. You know, he's caught him across the nose. There's a nosebleed there. But what I would say is Grealish has dragged the ball inside, and just the momentum of his body has lifted his elbow. I don't think there was anything malicious in it.
Well, he needs a little bit of treatment. That will give us an opportunity to go back to St James's. Steve Harmison.
Yeah, Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0. 15 minutes gone and a big blow for Newcastle. Alexander Isak, the former Dortmund players, had to go off. Callum Wilson comes on. But again, another great chance as Daniel Milan just got a ball edge of the box and he's clipped it towards the top corner and it just sailed over the bar. This is a fantastic game of football. 15 gone, Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0.
And to Celtic, David Tanner.
15 minutes gone, it's still the scoreline. It's Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 0, and it was Kyogo Furuhashi who scored his 8th goal of the season, his second in 2 games. A wonderful 1-2 with Matt O'Reilly, and he chipped the goalkeeper from 6 yards out. One man who didn't celebrate the goal is Rio Hitate. He was down with a hamstring injury and he's been replaced by Paulo Bernardo. It's Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 0.
Well, Manchester City have a corner which will be taken on the right flank. There's good play by Grealish. The ball swept inside the penalty area and headed away. And Nunes is going to take the corner. He's just spotted it down. And the assistant referee stands in front of the ball. There's something going on inside the penalty area, I think. Well, the referee is just being asked to wait. Blum has been patched up after the blood from his facial injury has been cleaned up, and he's been allowed back on. Corner taken and cleared. As far as Lewis pinging one down towards the City right-hand side. Doku could field that. Back it goes for Lewis again. He just plays the way that he's facing all the way back to his goalkeeper. First set-piece opportunity from the Manchester City right, nothing coming of it. As Edison looks long for Nunes, it sails over his head and goes out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Young Boys' left-hand side. 16 gone, and Manchester City, as you would expect, looking the better side, the more confident, competent side, but too many signs of a breakthrough yet.
No, as I say, Young Boys have probably had slightly the better chance, I would say. But Nunes' effort as well from the penalty spot area, really, he should have done better with that effort as well.
It's the clearest opportunity that either side have been able to create so far. Young Boys trying to play out from the back, do so with Ugrinic, but he's given it away. Itten will chase, but Diaz ends up with the ball at his feet, and it's very easy for him just to buy himself a yard of space and find Ake behind him. Just the 2 defeats so far this season for Young Boys. They lost against Leipzig in the Champions League, lost a league game against St Gallen, 2 points off the top of the league with a game in hand, having missed the chance to go top, holding Zurich, the league leaders, to a 0-0 draw on this ground at the weekend. A game that really was a huge disappointment. Very few chances being created by either side. The young boys coming the closest with Blum, the right back, was just picked up a knock a few moments ago, hitting the post with a rasping drive from about 35 yards. But other than that, very little in the way of goalmouth action. Blum back in a defensive capacity here as Grealish picks up the ball. Joel Montero had an attempt to try and win it back, and then Ugrinic had a little nibble at Grealish as well. Akanji down towards Lewis. Lewis motoring forward in a central position. Haaland is ahead of him. Lewis still goes. Maybe was caught. Play goes on. Doku, right hand side of the area. Low ball fizzed in. Right footed effort from Kovacic was blocked. And it'll be cleared outside the penalty area. And another opportunity for Manchester City to try and bring this forward. Got it again with Grealish. Boos and whistles for him every time he picks up possession after that clash with Blum a few minutes ago. Doku's got it now. City switching it from left to right very quickly. Back for Rico Lewis. Lewis behind, square for Akanji. Akanji nudging it off to his left-hand side for Diaz, and now out towards Ake. Ake to Rodri in a central area. Lewis has got it, flicks it forward. Nunez now with Doku to his right. Haaland making a run to his left. He's just trying to slip a little reverse ball in towards Haaland, who tried to turn away from camera on the edge of the penalty area but couldn't.
I'm just looking at Nunez's position here. For want of a better word, in old money, he's playing inside right, and he's making it very, very difficult for young boys to pick him up. Benito doesn't know whether to step in on him or not, and he's the one who's going to be the conduit to set up opportunities on goal.
Lewis has done well to fashion the ball to his left-hand side for Rodri. So Benito is playing on the left of the two centre-halves for young boys. The camera at the moment is detailing Haaland more often than not, and Benito's caught in this kind of no man's land on occasion, and is just following Nunez in again now. So Nunez, seeing him coming, just drags him as far as he thinks he can. He's gone back inside his own half. Benito knows that he can't go that far, so then Nunez can turn and he can run at the opposition, and he's got loads of space to do so. It's working very well for Manchester City. Nunez has got it again. Doku making a darting run to his right, but it goes back instead for Lewis, and City working things out on the job pretty quickly here. 20 gone, 0-0.
Yeah, they certainly are. I'm not seeing that freedom of space on the other side of the pitch with Kovacic as much. Grealish has gravitated into that area on the left side of the pitch, but certainly if Nunez keeps getting into that area, and as he's shown, happy to turn and feed the ball wide to Doku or alternatively into Haaland.
Well, I told you the West Ham are in action tomorrow night at Olympiacos. That's live on Talksport 2, kicking off at 5:45. It's not just live football that we're bringing on the Talksport network, of course. You can keep right across all of the action for free this week as Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou finally face off in Saudi Arabia this Saturday. Here's Doku making his way inside the penalty area. Deflection on that cross, which is comfortably picked up by the goalkeeper. He's unable to find Haaland. That Fury and Ngannou fight in Riyadh. Our team will be bringing you daily updates, and we'll have a live watch along with Adam Cattrall, Spencer Oliver and heavyweight Johnny Fisher on the night from 9 o'clock. Just head over to the TalkSport Boxing YouTube channel, follow all the action in the build-up to Fury against Ngannou. This one is fast, but not too much fury in it. 0-0, 21 minutes on the clock. And City try to work the ball forward again. And Kovacic, stumbling, is able to lay it off towards Haaland. Haaland towards Lewis. Movement comes to his right-hand side. Haaland flicking it in towards Nunez. Nunez onside when the ball was played to him. It goes back again through the midfield towards Rodri. Rodri out towards Ake. Ake, 5 yards in from the left-hand touchline, finding Grealish. Grealish coming in off that left flank. Slipped by him towards Kovacic, but he's lost it. And an opportunity now for Itten to break as the deadlock is broken. And deep down in the Championship, Graham Beecroft.
Preston 0, Southampton 1. It was a lovely goal as well by Walker Peters, who cut in from the right-hand side and curled a left-footed shot into the far corner. Preston 0, Southampton 1.
Thank you, Beaky. Here's Doku on the Manchester City right. This one's still 0-0. The other game in this group, Red Star are trailing away at Leipzig by a goal to nil, as was widely expected. Diaz forward through the midfield again for Kovacic. Kovacic on the edge of the centre circle finds Ake. Midway through the first half, Manchester City with all the territorial advantage, with all of the possession, but not too much in the way of concrete goal-scoring opportunity, and that's often the way. It sounds like an insult to say they grind their way through games when they play some of the exquisite football that they do, but they just wear the opposition out. It's just so attritional, having to deal with Manchester City and the possession, the way they have it, and move it so quickly from side to side.
Well, what they do, they almost keep the ball, and they just wait for occasions to open up. And all it takes is one player to switch off from the early work they do when they're nice and fresh, and they're in trouble.
And Akanji's played it in here for Haaland, and his efforts taken a little deflection off camera. Goalkeeper would have had it covered, and Haaland smacks the palm of his right hand into the ground in frustration at a chance not taken. It was well played by Akanji. He motored a long way forward, slipped it in towards Haaland, but he couldn't really get an effective contact on the ball.
No, I think he should have done a lot better there. He's in a great position, and it's this side of the pitch where City are getting a little bit of joy. Either Nunez's position to pick up, or alternatively, if he draws Benito, the left centre half, out, then the ball in behind to Haaland is always on.
Well, he got 12 goals in 12 games in the Champions League last season for Manchester City, but hasn't scored in 5 in the competition. Coming into this is the worst ever run. Grealish slipping it in. It's Doku. Good turn. Left-footed effort and beaten away by the goalkeeper. Manchester City well on top. Can't find a way through. Penalty action in Glasgow. David Tanner.
It's Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 0, and Antoine Griezmann stands over the ball. Greg Taylor tripped up World Cup winner Heino Molina. And here comes Griezmann now. Side-footed, it's off the post, and he scores with a rebound. Joe Hart got a hand to it, pushed it onto the post, but the rebound fell ever so well for Griezmann, and it's Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 1.
So all square there. Celtic 1, Atletico Madrid 1, with Griezmann equalising from the penalty spot. Leipzig leading Red Star Belgrade 1-0. It's the only other goal so far in the Champions League. A reminder that over on Talksport 2 right now, the other game in Newcastle's group, PSG against Milan, currently 0-0. That's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. We'll be back at St James's in a moment. 25 gone in this one, 0-0, but it might not be for long. Nunez picking up the ball from Grealish. So much the Nunez left. He goes back towards Grealish. Grealish with another chance to run at Blum. Lays it off inside towards Kovacic. Kovacic turning neatly, looking for Ake. Goes out of play. It's a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, really good opportunity there from City. The ball come in. It arrived at Doku's feet. He's come inside, opened the goal up. All he had to do was fade into the far corner. His standing foot, his right foot's just slipped, and as tends to happen, you hit the left foot onto the right, and the goalkeeper done well not to be fooled by the double deflection.
Lewis, good turn from him in the midfield, but one back by Ugrinic. Itten linking up the play. Nias down towards Elia on the left, but he couldn't find him, and City once more win it back. And now Haaland inside the centre circle, having dropped deep to receive possession, but he starts this counter-attack. It's a really good challenge. Comes in from Joel Montero to dispossess Nunez, and Montero will then venture back into Manchester City territory. There's a buzz of expectation whenever the men in yellow and black have possession in City territory, but it's not happening very frequently. Ball played back now for the centre half. Benito worked out towards the left-hand side for the fullback Garcia. Garcia taking it into the inside left channel, but Nunez followed him every step of the way. Stuck a foot in, won it back very neatly. And now Grealish back in defensive duty, can just recycle things. They're working back via Diaz for Ederson, and Manchester City, just after a slow start for the opening couple of minutes, have looked unfazed ever since. And this man, Lewis, always with a performance showing a maturity beyond his years. He's linked things up beautifully here. Goes out towards Doku. Doku right-hand side of the box, trying to fade away past Garcia. He went shoulder to shoulder with him. Doku went down. Garcia indicated that he thought he did so very readily, and the referee agrees and just points for a goal kick.
Yeah, Doku's asked some questions of the full-back at the moment, but credit to Garcia. He's dealt with him particularly well, stayed on his feet, only gone to ground when he's had good opportunity to win the ball. bit of a disappointment. We're just watching a replay there of Haaland's effort. It's a bit of a disappointing effort, I've got to say.
27 minutes in, and it remains 0-0 between Young Boys and Manchester City. City with a 1-point lead at the top of the group as things stand right now. They have a throw inside their own half. We'll go back to Tyneside. Steve Harmison.
0, Borussia Dortmund 0, 28 minutes on the clock. This game has had everything but a goal. We've had some great saves by Nick Pope and Kobel, the Dortmund keeper. The one that Pope made the double save was unbelievable. Penalty shout for Miguel Almiron. I thought the referee was about to press there to go to the whistle and go to the spot, but it hasn't happened. The only thing that really we haven't had is a goal. Dortmund have been on top, but Newcastle in the last 5 minutes have really rammed home the advantage. This is living up to what it's been built. Corner for Newcastle. Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0.
Doku for Manchester City, back through the midfield. Kovacic to Ake down the Manchester City left-hand side for Grealish. Use of another goal from Celtic in a moment. Grealish taking it down towards the dead ball line, checks back away from Blum. Might just have given it away. Now City have it again. Kovacic's doing well to stick his foot in, and he's lost it. Now the counter-attack is on, led by Cedric Itten. He's got John Montero making a run ahead of him. Itten goes into the area, left-footed skinning effort, easily saved. Celtic back ahead. David Tanner.
Yes, it's now Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 1. Atletico were level for just 3 minutes, and it's a goal scored by Luis Palma. He was denied a goal by VAR a couple of weeks ago against Lazio, and this time he crashes the ball high past Jan Oblak to make the scoreline. Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 1.
Game in the National League South tonight, and Havant and Waterlooville, bottom of the table, 2-1 down at home to Aveley, who were in the Essex Senior League only a few seasons ago. Grealish playing it forward, left-footed crosses, whipped across the edge of the 6-yard box, really whacked in by Nunes, and nobody could get on the end of that. Rachopi just actually got fingers to it. Don't know whether he thought it might be sailing in towards the top left-hand corner. I don't think it would have done. It goes out of play for a City throw, which they will take about 8 yards from the corner flag.
Yeah, Nunes is the one that's creating a lot of space for himself. He's just got to make sure that when he actually does get turned, he finds that killer pass to actually put his teammates in or kill a cross. I've been quite impressed with his positional play.
Lewis takes the throw. Happy to go back for Diaz. Diaz will work it even deeper towards Ake. And so the wall of yellow and black defensive shirts just pull out towards 15 yards outside their penalty area. I think just Constantine it up for a moment. That gives space for Haaland to try and run in behind the back line, but Nunes can't find him. And the Ass brings it away. Just a little drop of the shoulder. Elliott making his way forward down the left. Lewis knew that he was there. And Akanji's able to mop up, and Ruben Dias is going to be able to bring it forward. Big game at the bottom of the Championship tonight. Plymouth have just taken the lead at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Plymouth 1, Wednesday 0. Danny Rawls' second game in charge of Wednesday. They haven't scored now in 546 minutes. 9 hours and 6 minutes since Masaba scored against Middlesbrough for them. Bottom of the table, and Plymouth, who are in the bottom 4, leading by a goal to 0. Mustafa Bundu, the man on target. As Grealish gets the ball inside the area, Haaland dramatically and acrobatically flicks the ball into the ground, and he just sits up nicely for the goalkeeper to come out and catch it.
Once again, good receiving skills from Grealish as he attacks his fullback. He just got his head up and he's just looking to feather one in with his right foot, an in-swing if you like. And Haaland, once again, he's had 2 good half chances that you expect him to do a little bit better at. Well done, Grealish.
Yeah, it's just a wry shake of the head from Haaland. You sense he's just a little bit frustrated at the moment, the way that things aren't quite going for him. Still got 9 goals in 13 games in all competitions this season, but that is below par for him. So good his numbers have been throughout his career.
On a good day, he scores 2 goals already in this game, and he's looking for his hat-trick already. They're chances that certainly a centre-forward of his ilk should be hitting the target and potentially scoring at least one of them.
I think it is playing on his mind. I mean, he's not used to having runs of 5 Champions League games without a goal. He's done well just to come back and link it up here and find Grealish. Right-footed effort from him. Oh, spilled by the goalkeeper. And then Núñez with the effort, which was cleared off the line. Doku has it now. Flashes it back in. That one's cleared by camera. Goalkeeper's really got away with one there. It remains 0-0. But the goalkeeper came out to try and deal with a cross-come shot intended for Haaland, and he dropped it into the floor. It hit the City player, ricocheted towards the line off Núñez, and was cleared by the retreating Benito in the nick of time.
Well, you know your luck's in a little bit if you're young boys at this moment in time. You give Haaland 2 good half chances and he fails to hit the target twice, and then your goalkeeper spills a horrible one. And Benito, good defensive work, good cover. The goalie was absolutely lost, on his knees and praying that his defender bailed him out, which he did.
Loris Benito, the former Benfica and Bordeaux man, was there just to get it away in the nick of time. This one, 0-0. The reminder that over on Talksport 2 right now, it's PSG taking on AC Milan, and Kylian Mbappe's just scored his 10th goal of the season for the Parisians, who lead Milan by a goal to 0. So that means that, as they stand right now, they're top of the group. PSG 6 points, Newcastle 5, Dortmund and Milan 2 apiece. Ball with Blum, the right back for Young Boys. Headed away. Brought back down by Lauper in the midfield. The defensive shield in front of the back four. Blum with another delivery. Ederson with a good acrobatic catch. He did well to claim that off balance. And we'll just bowl it out and get Manchester City going again through the thirds with Núñez. Half-time whistles beginning to blow in the games in the Championship. First one at Ashton Gate, Lawrence.
Yeah, half-time, Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1. The home team had their chances in the first half, but it was Welsh international Nathan Broadhead who put the visitors in front on 16 minutes, low and hard from the edge of the area. The ball zipping off the turf into the far corner, his 6th of the season. Morsey hit the post late on, Ipswich dominating. Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1.
A second goal for Plymouth in quick succession. Morgan Whittaker with that, his 5th of the season, and Plymouth leads Sheffield Wednesday by 2 goals to 0. Wednesday will be at least 10 points adrift of safety in the bottom 3 in the Championship if they lose tonight, depending on the results elsewhere. 11 minutes to go to half-time in this one. 8 o'clock kickoff. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0. Nathan Ake in possession for City. Outside the box, it goes into the feet of Grealish. Grealish flicking it back for Lewis. Clipped in by Rodri. Doku peeling away to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Garcia, the fullback, defending quite narrow, so that ball out towards Doku is always on, and he's won a throw. Half-time, it's St Andrews in Wayne Rooney's first home game in charge. Dave Rowe.
Birmingham 0, Hull 1. The mystery is how Hull aren't further ahead. Liam Delap with the opener as he pounced on a terrible Longolo back pass to score. Since then, Twiner's lost his footing with a clear chance for a second. Ruddy save from Delap, and both Philogene and Traore have had efforts deflected just wide. Best for Birmingham, a fair shot by Dembele, saved by Allsop. Birmingham 0, Hull 1.
Dave, thank you. Half-time at the New York Stadium, Rotherham 0, Coventry 0. Rotherham second bottom at the start of the night. Only one win in the last 14 games, which came at home to Norwich, and being held at the moment by the Sky Blues in South Yorkshire. Rotherham 0, Coventry 0, a half-time score. And more half-time details to come shortly. Jack Grealish in possession for Manchester City. 10 minutes to go to half-time in this one between Young Boys and City. In Switzerland, the rain has abated, but the pressure on that Young Boys goal hasn't as yet. 7 attempts Manchester City have had, but only 3 on target. And it's an observation you'd often make in a Manchester City game. They've had so much possession in the 70s, but they've only had 3 shots on target in 35 minutes. Is that enough?
Well, when you analyse them and break them down, 2 of those were Haaland when he really should have hit the target, if not scored. So if it was up to 5, I think they would have had 2 goals in their plus column at this stage, and that is I wouldn't say it's a worry, because they're opening up Young Boys on occasion, and it would be only a matter of time, you would suspect.
Lewis is well to win it back from Elliott, and now it's clipped by Rodri, who turns. As soon as he hit that, he turned away and looked in dismay. He knew that it was a misplaced ball through the midfield, and Montero can bring it forward, and then it's slipped by Itnat towards the right hand side of the area, and Ederson comes out, and it's brilliant defending from Ake, who denied the shot coming in. Lauper bursting forward through the midfield. Ball in behind the City back line, and a slightly poor touch from Lauper. And Ake did the rest, sliding in and steering it away. And it's nothing more than a corner.
I think to say it was a slightly poor touch was an underestimation of the highest order. It's a woeful first touch. He should be taking that away from Ake and slotting it past the goalkeeper.
Ugrinic will go across to take the corner. You don't need to likeness my middle name. They want to slaughter. Be feeling terrible. Be a corner which will be taken on that right-hand side. We're in the 38th minute. Half-time at Deepdale. Details to follow very shortly, but Southampton ahead there. Ugrinic will take this corner. Raises his right arm above his head. It's a right-footed away swinger that Haaland easily heads away. And it comes out towards the edge of the box with a shot that comes in and takes a deflection, which is poleaxed one of the Manchester City players. He got another corner. It was brilliantly hit by Blum. And it's knocked Ruben Dias off his feet.
Yeah, I've got to say, when it come out to Bloom on the edge of the box there, he was a good, from there to the goal, a good 25 yards out, and he's unloaded a hell of a volley. Good defensive work by Diaz,
who controlled it on the, well, let's say the inner thigh, and it was travelling, really travelling. He hit the post from further out than that of the weekend in the game against Zurich. He's fired one in here, but a little flick header goes over the bar from Itten, out of play for a goal kick. And we will go to detail. Half-time details from Preston. Southampton come from Graham Beacon.
Preston 0, Southampton 1. The goal coming on 33 minutes, scored by Kyle Walker-Peters, who cut in from the right-hand side and then fired a lovely curling left-footed shot into the far corner. There was almost an equaliser though, but Southampton defended very well indeed when they cleared a shot off the line almost immediately. Appeals for handball turned away by the referee. Half-time, Preston 0, Southampton 1.
And the 8 o'clock kickoff in the Championship is still goalless between Stoke and third-place Leeds, who are looking for a fourth win in a row. They had that magnificent come-from-behind victory at Norwich at the weekend. Elsewhere in the Champions League, Royal Antwerp, who've lost their first 2 games in Barcelona's group, but they lead Porto by a goal to nil. Al-Hassan Yusuf is the man that has scored that goal. It's his first of the season for Antwerp, who lead Porto, won 8 of the last 11 by a goal to nil. Lewis with the ball in his hand. They wanted to take a throw for Manchester City. I'm not trying to prevaricate, but really had very few options. The referee began to give him the hurry up, and he dropped it inside towards Rodri, who was able just to scoop it out towards Ake. And Ake will knock it back towards the edge of his own penalty area. It's 0-0. We've got 5 to go to the break, Stuart.
Yeah, City have just had a little change, just swapped their wingers over. Grealish has come to play this near side on the right, and Doku's just gone over on the left. Doku's run at his full-back, but having very little joy.
Haaland to Grealish, stabbing it forward, and the idea was right. The execution of the pass wasn't too much on it for Mateus Nunes' run, and it goes through for the goalkeeper. Let's go back to Parkhead, Celtic Atletico, David Tanner.
41 minutes gone, Jim. It's still Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 1. But Axel Witsel, the former Belgium international, had just put the ball in the back of the net there. But the assistant referee flagged for offside, and that decision has just been ratified by VAR. So an escape for Celtic. It remains Celtic 2, Atletico 1.
And Newcastle still 0-0 with Dortmund, and we'll get details from that in a moment. In fact, let's go there now as Doku goes down, wins a free kick. Steve Harmison, what's going on?
Yeah, Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0. A substitute, Özcan, is coming on for Emre Can. Emre Can took a whack in the knee not long ago. He's tried to soldier on, but he hasn't. This game has just kept giving it electric atmosphere. Fizzing on the pitch, it's damp, it's wet, it's a lovely night for football on the pitch. No real chances in the last sort of 5 minutes, just feeling each other out to get to half time. But 5 minutes to go before half time. It's Newcastle 0, Dortmund 0.
Kanji in possession for Manchester City, goes back for Diaz, and it goes through towards Kovacic to Ake on the Manchester City left. And a very well timed and crucial intervention inside his own penalty area 4 or 5 minutes ago. And City with a performance which has had some very nice moments, some half chances created. They've just gone off the board in the last 5-6 minutes. Haaland to Nunes, now down towards Grealish, coming in off that City right. Back he goes through the midfield for Lewis. Space created by Nunes. Great rotation from City, and Nunes, as Stuart was saying earlier, has found it very easy to find yards of space in that midfield. Rodri has got Nunes in space again, out on the right flank, but he's neglected to use him. He switched it the other way, goes out towards Doku. Doku with a chance to run at Blum, and gets towards the edge of the area. Right-footed shot, good save from the goalkeeper, diving away to his left. Ratchopi would have been disappointed had that got past him, but he got a top hand to it, beats it away, and it goes down towards the corner flag.
I tell you what, when Doku runs at you, he's absolutely lightning. That little shimmy, low centre of gravity, drops one shoulder, pushes it aside, and unloaded a really good shot there. Goalkeeper done well to parry away.
Out for a throw, which is taken by Lewis, and now they've got another throw, this one further adrift from the corner flag, and it's taken quickly by Akanji. And Akanji goes back for Ruben Dias. We've got 2 minutes to go to half time. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0 the score. Ake bringing it inside the centre circle. Little flick round the corner from Nunes, didn't come off. One back by Young Boys, but they can't string any more than a couple of passes together at the moment. They had that one good counter-attacking move 6 or 7 minutes ago, and that's been it in the recent past. Grealish now. Infield towards Rico Lewis. Lewis goes back towards halfway. Ruben Dias to his left-hand side will bring Akanji forward. Akanji inside the centre circle, just takes it on a couple of touches and then goes out towards Doku. Doku, far away the more direct of the two Manchester City wingers, who's made an impression after his move from French football. Just lays it back for Ake. Ake slipping it off to his right-hand side for Rodri. Rodri just chipping a ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Slightly awkward fall for Nunes as he went up for it. Didn't get the touch that he wanted, but it fell for Grealish, who drives it in off Garcia and out of play for a corner.
Yeah, I think if City keep persisting with Nunes in that position, that he's just occupying the left centre half, Benito, and he's drawing him out of position. For him to draw out, he either receives or someone's got to go. It's a straight ball over both of them for Haaland to get into the space that's been vacated. If they keep doing that, I think something will come of it.
Nunes, ball hits the goalkeeper as the corner comes in. Rodri, from about 8 yards out, smacked it towards goal. And the goalkeeper didn't really have time to react, but Ratchopi got in the way of it and was able to effect the block. Good chance for City, and a goal at St James's. Steve Harbison.
Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1, and it's Felix Mesha with the goal. Side foot effort from the edge of the box into the middle of the middle of the goal, height-wise, right-hand corner, giving Nick Pope no chance, but this was all about Nico Scuttlebag. Centre half makes a great tackle, 50-60 yards from the Newcastle goal, wins the ball on the deck, gets up, drives at the Newcastle back four, gets on the edge of the box, flicks it back, and the side foot pace on the ball guides it, measure to the top right-hand corner, and it's Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1.
A blow as far as the Geordies are concerned, just going into half-time there. We're in one additional minute added on at the end of the first half in this game we're concentrating on tonight here on Talksport. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0. It's Jack Grealish on the City right-hand side. Little trick and a flick. Oh, it's gone out of play for what's been given as a Young Boys throw. And Grealish is absolutely adamant that the assistant referee, Wallenberg Rasmussen's got that wrong. We're just seeing another view of the Rodri effort. The goalkeeper got down and got his right knee to it. But they certainly had the chances, Manchester City, to already have put this one to bed.
Yeah, the chances are racking up now. Probably midway through the first half, you would suggest they've not had too many clear cutters. Now all of a sudden we're looking at it and saying there really should be a goal up.
Haaland's missed a couple of really good opportunities. Rodri's come closer than anybody. But on the counter-attack, Lauper spurning a good opportunity for Young Boys. Half-time, it's Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0.
Well, Stuart Pearce, just stick around. We're still playing in the first half here at St James Park, where Newcastle, as you've just heard, are a goal down to Borussia Dortmund. But Stuart, just looking at the highlights I've been watching that first half whilst I've been here at St James Park. You know, sometimes they say that it takes some players a while to settle in at City, to learn Pep's way. It's taken Doku no time at all. I think he's been sensational at times.
No, I mean, ourselves, myself and Danny spoke about wingers taking players on. This fella don't need a second invitation. He runs at you, he drops his shoulder, and you have to defend him continually for the whole game. And he plays the percentages. I'm going to take you on 20 times, and as Dan mentioned earlier, it only takes one to slip past you, and he might create that goal. But I think it's Nunez's position that's creating a problem for young boys. And I think if anything's going to come goal-wise, it's going to be something to do with Nunez and that position he's adopted.
We joked about Haaland before the game, but his finishing is a little bit off tonight.
Yeah, it is. He's had two very, very good chances, one on his right foot, one on his left. He's failed to hit the target on either occasion, and centre-forwards bury at least one of those.
So, there's no real cause for concern here for Manchester City, is there?
No, I don't think so. That they've dominated the game, and on the odd occasion, young boys have broke and have created a chance. They've shown that they haven't got the ability to finish it off particularly clinically. So I think they'll end up, but the longer it goes on at 0-0, the more frustrating it will be for Pep.
Well, Stuart, thanks very much. We'll rejoin you for the second half. Manchester City being held goalless away to Young Boys in the Champions League tonight here. They're still playing in the first half. It's Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1, and it's half-time in the Championship at the Bet365. What's happening in the first 45, Adam Bridge?
Really, Stoke 0, Leeds 0, and Stoke belying that 20th place in the table they currently sit. They started the brighter and had the better of the early opportunities. Andre Vidigal involved in most of them. Inside the first 60 seconds, he had a shot saved by Meslier. Another cross from him picked out Mai, who flicked it goalwards, but again, Meslier in the right spot. Best opportunity of the half for Stoke came to Vidigal once more midway through the half. Lovely cross from Hoover on the right hand side. Free header, should have planted it in the corner, but again it was straight at the Leeds keeper. One chance for Leeds up the other end as Pirro shot at goal, and that was saved. Half time, Stoke 0, Leeds 0.
And it's half time. Whistle's just gone here at St James Park, and it's not going according to plan, Steve Harmison.
No, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. Felix Macheta with the goal, the only goal of that first half, right on half-time. This game really lived up to the hype that it had before the game. First 30 minutes had everything. A fantastic double save by Nick Pope. Almiron had a penalty shout. Gordon had a save by the Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper, Kohlberg. It really was end-to-end in that first sort of 20-25 minutes. Fantastic night for football on the field. Not the greatest in the press box, where it's a little bit damp, but Dortmund for me bossed it in the first half of that half and really put Newcastle under pressure. Newcastle got better, and I thought Newcastle were finishing the half on top, and I thought they were just going to create the chance that potentially could break the deadlock. But Nico Scottelberg, the centre half of Dortmund, made a sliding tackle just inside his own half. He wins the ball, he gets up, he runs at the Newcastle defence, gets to the edge of box, slides it across the goal, and there was Macheta. He left right foot, side foot straight into the top corner, give Nick Pope no chance. Newcastle will be disappointed to go in 1-0. This has been a great first half in the Champions League, but as it stands, it's Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1.
If you go back to the tackle, Steve, that Schlotterbeck won on, and it was in his own half, as you say, it was way off the goal. Nothing was in sight there, and we had no idea what was to come. Newcastle wanted a free kick for that. Definitely wasn't. He won the ball cleanly off Gordon, didn't he?
Definitely cleaning off Gordon. There's been a couple. I think Bruno Guimaraes came off with the referee, having a go at not getting the little rub of the green. But I think it's been a good first half. I think it's been well refereed. I think it's been end-to-end. But when Scottelberg ran the length of the pitch, nobody really closed him down. He got all the way, probably from 5-10 yards from his own half to Newcastle's edge of the box, and then his little side foot was perfect. It had the pace, it had precision, and all Macheta had to do was just put his foot there, and he guided it just past Nick Pope. It was a beautiful finish.
Well, Felix Macheta, who's a German international, was at Manchester City as a youngster, played for England's junior groups, but was born in Germany, went back there, plays for them. He's got the goal that means that Borussia Dortmund, rather surprisingly, lead 1-0 here at Newcastle this evening. You're on Talksport, and it's half-time for Celtic as well. David Tanner.
It's Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 1 at half-time. Celtic are halfway to an historic win. They've outpassed and at times outplayed Diego Simeone's side. They pressed from kick-off and scored with the first opportunity of the game. Kyogo Furuhashi picked up the ball on the right. He worked a 1-2 with Matt O'Reilly at the edge of the box at full speed, and the Japanese forward chipped Jan Oblak from 6 yards out. Then a trip by Greg Taylor gave France striker Antoine Griezmann a chance to level from the spot. He missed the penalty when Joe Hart got down to touch the ball onto the post, but he scored from the rebound. That's Griezmann's third goal in this group, his fourth of this week. 3 minutes later, Celtic moved in front again. Honduran Luis Palma was denied a goal against Lazio by VAR 3 weeks ago. He smashed the ball home following a cross from the left by Dizan Maeda. Celtic had a scare when Axel Witsel scored, but the assistant spotted the former Borussia Dortmund defender was just offside. So far, so sensational for Brendan Rodgers. It's Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 1.
Terrific goal from Luis Palma to put them in front. Are Celtic on course for their first home Champions League win for over a decade. They lead 2-1 at half-time. Earlier in Group E, final beat Lazio 3-1. In Group F tonight, half-time here, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. And half-time on Talksport 2, PSG 1, AC Milan 0. A brilliant finish from who else? Kylian Mbappe. Group G, Leipzig 1, Red Star Belgrade 0, and Young Boys 0, Man City 0, live on Talksport, second half to come. And Group H, earlier Barcelona beat Shakhtar Donetsk 2-1, and at half-time Royal Antwerp are set to get off the mark. They lead Porto by a goal to 0. Championship, Birmingham 0, Hull 1, Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1, Plymouth 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston 0, Southampton 1, Rotherham 0, Coventry 0, and Stoke 0, Leeds 0. In the National League South at half-time, it's happening in Waterlooville 1, Averley 2. Second half to come. Young Boys 0, Man City 0. And here, Newcastle, a goal down to Dortmund.
Kick-off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
At E.ON Next, we believe life's better when you know you can choose a fixed energy tariff where you'll be safe in the knowledge of what energy price you're paying for the duration of your contract. We think that makes energy a little bit better. And that's why we're always working towards helping you get more out of your energy. So visit eonnext.com today. T's and C's apply. Smart meter required if eligible. Exit fees apply.
Witches, skeletons, bats. 25% off F&F costumes this Halloween at Tesco with Club Card.
Dad, I'm the one wearing the costume.
Oh, yeah, right you are.
Tesco, every little helps. Available in majority of larger stores. Club Card or app required. Excludes Next. Offer valid 26th to 29th of October 23.
6th of October. Was $64.17 a month, now $48.94 a month. 36-month term. Credit by EE Limited. Claim gift from Samsung within 30 days of purchase. T's and C's apply.
Talksport Bet. If you want to flutter, punters know it's the only place to go. Football, GG, cricket, golf and Grand Prix are live online casino. Just tap to find it on the app. Talksport Bet, the broadcast bonus bookie, keeping you on track with all the sporting stats. Steeple chases, even title races, looking after sports fans. You know, cause Talksport Bet is the app that does all that. It's the only place to go.
18+ begambleaware.org.
Hello. You've caught me at the hairdresser's, brushing up on the best business advice with my friend Deborah Meaden.
Well, Einstein, staying on top of your numbers is crucial.
Indeed, and a smart meter can help you track your energy use and costs over time, so you can trim and adjust where needed.
Meaning more control of your business budgeting.
Now that's sharp.
Search Get a Smart Meter for Business today. Eligibility may vary. Consumer action required.
At Tesco, only the finest cuts of Aberdeen Angus beef are salt dry aged with Cornish sea salt, creating our deliciously tender Tesco finest Aberdeen Angus ribeye steak. All that so you can still set the smoke alarm off. Make your everyday taste better with Tesco Finest. Available in selected larger stores. Excludes Express, Whoosh and Northern Ireland.
Sometimes running a business can feel like cycling uphill with square wheels. But Xero online accounting software can help predict the future cash flow of your business, so you can stay one step ahead. Soon it'll feel more like freewheeling downhill. Woohoo! On a tandem. All right, mate. With a masseur on the back.
Oh, that's nice.
Search Xero with an X, because healthy business is beautiful business.
Ever tried to place a bet and found it doesn't really reflect you? It doesn't allow you to flex your savvy knowledge of the sport? Then you need Bet Builder from Virgin Bet.
And it's another booking for the away team.
Choose your favourite markets like corners, cards or even hitting the crossbar and personalise your bet until you look at it and think, nailed it. Beautiful, isn't it? You can also pick from pre-made bet builders if you like. Make it your own with Bet Builder from Virgin Bet. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Bet responsibly. BeGambleAware.org.
The passion, the pain, and the poetry of the beautiful game.
Overhead kick! Brilliant goal!
The Champions League live on Talksport.
This is Talksport, and we're waiting to take you into the second half. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0. I can tell you that Rotherham have taken the lead in the Championship game against Coventry 1-0. The veteran Lee Peltier usually gets maybe one goal a season, if any. This is his second of the season in only his fifth appearance. Rotherham 1, Coventry City 0, the latest score from the New York Stadium. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
And Young Boys Man City, it's goalless at the moment. Young Boys to win it at 12-1. Manchester City to win it, they've had the best chances, 4-11. And the draw is 11-4. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
So let's take you around the grounds in the Championship. Second half's well underway. First stop is Ashton Gate. Lawrence Moore up.
Yeah, whereas Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1. The team chasing down Leicester lead thanks to their Welsh international Nathan Broadhead. His goal on 16 minutes separating the time. Sides, the Tractor Boys could have doubled that early in the second half. Connor Chaplin with a shot from just outside the area, brilliantly palmed away by Max O'Leary. And then moments ago we have Max O'Leary in the midst of the action again, racing off his line to head clear on the edge of his area, clattering big George Hurst in the process. But with 54 on the clock, it is Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1.
What's happening at Deepdale? Talksport's Graham Beecroft.
It's as you were at half-time. Preston North End 0, Southampton 1, but a frenetic start to the second half. Both managers have clearly told their players to go out there and try to get an early goal to upset the apple cart, so to speak. A couple of substitutions as well. Frockyar has gone off for Preston North End, and Che Adams, who was injured just before half-time, has gone off for Southampton. So it's Preston 0, Southampton 1.
As it stands, Southampton will be fourth if all the scores stay as they are. Remember, only a few weeks ago, after a losing run, they were wanting Russell Martin to go. Some Southampton callers to Talksport. They'll be fourth as things stand. Let's find out about events at St Andrews. Talksport's Dave Rowe.
Well, it's Birmingham 0, Hull City 1, and Hull spent the first half missing chances to go 2-0 up after Liam Delap put them ahead. That's carried on in the second half. A huge chance from a Birmingham short corner. They made a mess of it. Delap and Ferrigen broke away between them. They both had chances to make it 2-0. They couldn't take the chance. The game has been full of mistakes at both ends. Birmingham somewhat improved since the break. One effort for them since that half-time. Dembele's cross in for Bakuna. His shot blocked well by Louis Coyle. Still Birmingham 0, Hull 1.
Let's go back to Deepdale. A goal there for Graham Beecroft.
Yes, I was telling you about substitutions. It's now Preston North End 1, Southampton 1, and the man that came on for Preston at half-time was Mulliton Osmajic, and he hit an absolute beauty from around the edge of the penalty area, seared low into the corner of the net. Preston North End 1, Southampton 1.
So maybe they won't be going fourth after all, Southampton. Keeping you updated with the goals as they go in the Championship and in the Champions League as well. Waiting for the players to come out for the second half in Switzerland. Young Boys 0, Manchester City 0. Let me tell you what's coming up on the Talksport network tomorrow. Olympiacos against West Ham in the Europa League is a 5:45 kick-off. We've got that one for you live on Talksport 2. On Friday, there's a choice. You've got the Lionesses against Belgium in the Women's Nations League. That's on Talksport 2, 7:45 kick-off. Faker Others in charge. charge for that one. And on Talksport, live exclusive Premier League commentary of Crystal Palace against the Premier League leaders Tottenham Hotspur. I'll be at Selhurst Park for that one alongside Sam Matface and Stuart Pearce. Saturday, we've got Game Day Live starting, Game Day exclusive even, starting at 11 a.m, building up to Chelsea-Brentford, which kicks off at 12:30. Live exclusive commentary of that. Reshman Chowdhury will be your host from 11 a.m. on Talksport. Straight after that, I'll be at Arsenal for Game Day Live on Talksport. All the goals as they go in, taking you around the grounds as well through till 5:30 when we've got the Game Day phone in. There's some Championship action as well. Leeds Huddersfield is not on your telly, but it is on Talksport 2 exclusively from the Championship. 12:30 on Saturday lunchtime and 3 o'clock on Talksport 2 Premier League action, and a big one. Bournemouth taking on Burnley in the Premier League. Bournemouth still looking for their first win of the season. Manchester City need a goal in Switzerland. They're goalless at the moment. It's live on Talksport, second half, with the former Manchester City captain and manager Stuart Pearce alongside your commentator Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, they do need a goal. They've certainly created some decent chances, most particularly in the last 15 minutes or so. Worth talking about the fact that it's an artificial surface. Pep was very politically correct about that, but did bring Manchester City out to Switzerland very early so that they could have an extensive training session on it yesterday. How do you think it's played, Stuart? Has it been a factor at all? A couple of slightly erratic bounces when City were preparing to take shots?
Yeah, I think exactly that. When people have planted their feet, namely Doku had a very good opportunity, certainly, where he's just standing foot's just slipped slightly. So whether that's the pitch or not, who knows? But in the main, I don't think City can turn around and say that's responsible for them failing to score at this moment in time.
OK, we're back underway. Manchester City, light blue shirts and white shorts, kicking from right to left as we look at it. Ruben Dias in possession. I'll run through the two teams for you in a moment, but there have been no changes in personnel at half-time. City with the back three, Akanji on the right of that three, just put under a little bit of pressure by Elliott. And he goes back for his goalkeeper, Edison, again. In front of him, that back three of Akanji, Dias and Ake. Then Lewis alongside Rodri in midfield. Doku and Grealish wide. Kovacic and Nunez. And then Haaland up front. And you and I were talking about the possibility maybe of a Manchester City change sooner rather than later, maybe taking Kovacic off and bringing on a slightly more progressive central midfielder. Here's a chance for Nunez. It's taken a deflection and the goalkeeper can't stop it, going out of play for a corner. Another goal at Deepdale. Graham Beecroft.
And it's gone to Preston North End, so it's Preston North End 2, Southampton 1. It was a great counter-attack. Ball swept down the field, largely down the right-hand side, played through into the penalty area. Brad Potts was strong enough and clever enough to make sure he got himself between the marking defender and the ball, and then he swept the ball low into the bottom of the net. So it's Preston North End 2, Southampton 1.
Well, City have taken that first corner. Akanji meeting it on the far side of the 6-yard box with a header that was slightly misangled back into the fray, and it took a deflection off Montero, and then Cannon's back on the outside of the post and out for another corner.
Yeah, the previous corners have all gone to the near post, and they should really have been cut out. One bounced through to Rodri for his header, and the other one was he's caught on the half volley, but Grealish just floating the ball to the far post on the first one and for the second as well.
And he sends this one in, which just goes over Haaland's head. It'll be picked up by Doku outside the penalty area. Good movement from Kovacic. It's played to him inside the box. He's laid it back. Rodri chipping it up towards the far post. Diaz on the other side of the bar, and Akanji is there to put it in. And Manchester City have the breakthrough 2.5 minutes into the second half. Well, it has been coming since the start of the second period. City have been playing with real purpose. They came close on a couple of occasions, but Akanji's there to bundle it in after the ball came back off the bar, and Manchester City finally have their deserved breakthrough.
Yeah, a couple of corners there, decided to go far post in this second half. It certainly bore fruit. They kept it alive. Goalkeeper's done brilliantly well to stop the first one, put it onto the bar, but Akanji was there just to knock it over the line, and that was the one that they needed to just settle the ship down.
Well, as a Swiss international, as a former Basel player, that's a goal that he will really relish. It's only his second in Manchester City colours. The first came against Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final But he's found the breakthrough, and it's Young Boys 0, Manchester City 1, with 3 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, we just flashed to Alfie Haaland there, who's just celebrating the goal, but I'm sure there's a bit of him thinking, I wish that was my son there, just to nudge one over the line.
So Kanji supply Manchester City with the breakthrough. Early goal in the second half here on Talksport. Early goal in the second half on Talksport 2 as well, as once more the Talksport network gives you a choice of live Champions League action tonight. PSG leading Milan by 2-0 now. Ousmane Dembele has scored that. That's his first of the season. PSG 2, Milan 0, and it continues live right now over on Talksport 2. Blum, the right back, with a slightly heavy touch, could rescue it. Lays it to his fellow centre-half, Camara. Camara will go back to the goalkeeper. Ake heading it forward after the clearance almost reached halfway. Rodri then lays it back for Akanji. And Akanji to Rodri, back out towards Lewis, and City will be able to work it out towards the right-hand side. That PSG goal actually has been ruled out after a long VAR check. It is still PSG 1, Milan 0, and the Dembele goal ruled out. Remember, elsewhere, Celtic leading Atletico Madrid 2-1, and Dortmund the goal up at Newcastle at St James's Park. Manchester City leading in this one. Ake playing it forward, and as he looked for Kovacic, again it was Camara that was able to step up from the defensive line and get it away. Now Young Boys will try and work it out towards the right hand side. Jefferson Montero wasn't too sure where the ball was going to be played, but he was able to keep it in, and now they will break, and Montero has it again, then stumbles on this awkward surface. He's back to his feet before Ruben Dias could intervene, and it's laid back to Ugrinic back towards halfway. And they have a few moments like that, Young Boys, where they will make their way forward and get to within sight of the edge of the penalty area, and then can't find a way through, and very quickly they're back inside their own penalty area within about 10 seconds.
Yeah, they certainly are. I'm just looking, you mentioned the player stumbling there and talking about the surface here. Just took me back to sort of the early days when the pitches were frozen and we had a big bag of boots with pimples on for the eyes, and you'd never actually worn them before you played, and they tipped the bag out and you just had to find a pair that actually fit you to play in it, and I'm sure it's more scientific nowadays.
Well, that old professional approach we used to relish. The ball is back with Edison. Not like the players who probably should remain nameless, who've got hundreds of pairs of boots that they insist on going with them everywhere, or used to. 6 minutes gone in the second half. City leading 1-0. Kanji with a goal, and with a really good progressive run here. Kovacic letting it run. It's Haaland, edge of the area, left-footed shot straight at the goalkeeper, who got his hands down early and was able to make the save.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the life of a goal.
Now at the other end, ball tipped over the goalkeeper and in, and it's 1-1. And out of nothing, they've equalised with Elliott. It was just work fought through the midfield. Elliott running onto it. Edison miles off his line. And Elliott, with a deliciously executed chip, fires it over him and in. And the lead lasted only 4 minutes. It's 1-1.
Absolutely super finish there by Elliott. He's timed his run brilliantly, I think, off of Rico Lewis. And he's just got his foot under it and got such a high elevation on it. It was incredible, and it didn't land before the line. It just literally landed straight into the back of the side netting, and 1-1.
Yeah, it was a brilliant finish, a really good run. The ball played from the inside right channel for Elia's run, who came from inside left. And the Congolese international who scored against Leipzig has now scored against Manchester City as well. It really is out of nothing, and it's all square.
You know, I was just in the phrase of talking about the life of a goal scorer, you know, and Haaland's had a shot on the edge of the box and he's hit it brilliantly. It had no deflection, but went straight down the middle of the goalkeeper's grasp, and then from that the goal come. On another day it takes the deflection, you score a goal and you're 2-0 up.
Meshak Elia with the goal that ties it up at 1-1. City looking to regain their lead. Kovacic inside the penalty area, down by the byline, pulling it back for Ake. Ake towards Rodri. Rodri firing it in, that one headed away by the left back, and then Lewis trying to help it forward is beaten. Garcia back to his centre half Benito to the right back Blum, and now to Camara again. It's a goal that has just given young boys that little bit of confidence. They have scored in both of their previous Champions League ties. They haven't got a good record in this competition. It's their third Champions League group stage campaign. They finished bottom of the group in the other two, most recently a couple of years ago. In fact, they've only ever won 2 out of 14 matches in the Champions League proper. Plenty of flares have been let off, smoke billowing across the ground. Young boys on the attack again with a high left-footed delivery, which bounces once inside the penalty area and then comes back outside the box. Montero has it, faced up by Ake. His orange boots, he's just laid it off for Blum. Blum firing across him, which hits Grealish and bounces out towards the touchline. The PSG had one disallowed early in the second half. They have now scored. It's 2-0. Randall Colomwani has got that, and Porto have equalised at Antwerp with Evan Nielsen's goal, tying that one up at 1-1. I'll run through all the scores for you very shortly, but this one is 1-1 between Young Boys and Manchester City. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it is. It looks as though, for all intents and purposes, the City got that early goal in the second half, that it was going to be a bit of a cakewalk, but an instant response there by Young Boys. A really, really good run and finish, I've got to say, by Elia. And the game is on again, and City have got it all to do. And I don't know how much we spoke at half-time about how much the Manchester derby will play a part in potential substitutions or making sure you don't make substitutions to keep players fresh.
Well, Bernardo Silva's been out warming up, but you would imagine that Pep will do everything he can probably to keep him and Phil Foden in cotton wool if he can, if the situation dictates. But at the moment, Manchester City peg back. It's 1-1 with 10 gone in the second half. Porto have gone ahead in Belgium. It's Antwerp 1, Porto 2. They've turned that around in this second period. Let's find out if Newcastle have come close to doing likewise. On Tyneside, Steve Harmison.
No, they haven't. Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. Dortmund have kept the ball well in the opening throws this second half. Newcastle just trying a bit too hard, giving the ball away. Just that little bit sloppy in the driving rain. Opening 10 minutes in this half. No real chances to go at. Newcastle are still losing. Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1.
Doku bringing the ball forward for Manchester City to Rodri. Rodri slipping the ball to Ake. Almost hit the referee. Kovacic will be able to take it on. He's taken on some slightly more advanced positions in the second half. Grealish has got it tiptoeing his way inside the penalty area. Referee again's got to get out of the way as it's a pass intended for Ake. Rodri, he will take it on. There are 15 inside that penalty area, including Haaland, who comes to meet this. It hit Benito. It's clear for Rico Lewis with a right-footed rifled effort that might have needed saving. It would have whistled towards goal had it not been blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. And it's cleared and goes out of play for a Manchester City throw. Another goal of Celtic. Dave Tanner.
And it's an equaliser for Atletico Madrid. It's now Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 2, 53 minutes gone. And it's the first time we've seen any real involvement in front of goal from Alvaro Morata. A cross came in from the right, and Morata was at the back post with a diving header angled away from Joe Hart. Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 2.
So 2-2 there. Celtic being held, having led twice. Newcastle behind, and Manchester City being held, having led. A vintage night for the British clubs at the moment. Kanji's in possession for Manchester City. Will be able to turn it forward down the right-hand touchline. Rodri showing for the ball in the midfield. It's just arc back through towards Ake, but it didn't get there. It was under hit, and Joel Montero can pick it up. And he's got Itten making a move one side of him, and Ugrinic will be able to pick up the ball just behind him. Ugrinic across the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed effort swept towards goal. Hits Akanji's knee and goes down for a corner.
Yeah, City have just given a couple of lifelines, if you like, to young boys, and on the turnover of possession, they've certainly looked as though they could hurt them slightly. City get players forward, so as we saw from the goal, it was a 2 against 2 scenario, and on that situation, it ended up being 3-on-3 on the break.
13 goals second half on Talksport, 1-1, both the goals since half-time. Left-footed delivery from Garcia, a really high corner, back in from Lauper and flicked just wide. don't think he would have counted the offside flag up anyway against Camera. But City's marking slightly awry at the back. Lauper with a free header is only about 12-13 yards out. It was a clever little flick from Camera, but it goes wide of the left-hand post.
Yeah, the City back line just caught the odd 6 offside on that occasion, I think.
Yeah, just the 6. Ball kept in on the Manchester City right, but that must have been a close run thing. Doku coming off the right-hand touchline, trying to put pressure on Garcia. Can't find a way past him, but he's got Lewis in support. Lewis's ball misses Rodri, but Ake can pick it up. He can swiftly work it forward some 20 yards for Kovacic. Kovacic into the feet on the edge of the penalty area, and Nunes, anticipating that Haaland was going to peel out towards the far post, let it run. Both have made the same run, but 5 yards apart from each other. And as a result, both missed it, and it goes out of play. Well, let's go back to St James's, Harmy.
Yeah, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1, and Newcastle had a great chance. What a save by Gregor Kobel. On the break, Newcastle won the ball, played into Anthony Gordon, who flashed across a goal. Callum Wilson 8 yards out, just the goalkeeper to beat. You'd have backed the England striker, but the goalkeeper stood firm, stood tall, made himself big, made a fantastic save. How has Callum Wilson not scored there? Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1.
Benito clearing for Young Boys towards halfway. Headed back by Diaz. Bounces in a quite lively manner for Jack Grealish, but he can head it on towards Akanji. Doku, now for Rodri. Ake to his left. Rodri will just turn the ball out towards the left-hand touchline, and Jack Grealish can pick it up. We've played an hour, so it'll be interesting to see if any changes are going to be imminent now for Pep and his man. Rodri slipping in towards Nunes. Nunes with a little turn, opens up the shot, and rifles it just over the bar.
There was that position for Nunes again, just sat inside, just on the inside right position, great position to receive, and when he did, done everything right, but just his shot was pretty weak. It looked, stretching for it almost.
Elsewhere in the Champions League, Antwerp 1, Porto 2, Celtic 2, Atletico 2, Newcastle 0, Dortmund 1, PSG 2, Milan 0. It's live over on Talksport 2 right now. And Leipzig, who just scored a second at home to Red Star Belgrade. That's the other game in this group. Leipzig 2, Red Star 0. So Manchester City's lead at the top of the group will be only 1 point at the halfway stage if the scores end as they are at the moment. Xavi Simons, who was that scored that goal for the Germans. 1-1 in this game. Manchester City have got players out warming up the City bench. Walker, Stones, Sergio Gomez and Gvardiol. Phillips, Bernardo Silva, Foden and Bob. Hamilton and Alvarez, and substitute goalkeeper Ortega. So plenty of attacking options if Pep decides that he wants to try and shake this up. Blum, the right back, making his way forward, and Diaz covering the ground. Claims that he played it off Blum and out of play for a throw to City, but it's been given the other way, down about 6 yards from the corner flag, and the replay suggests the decision's correct.
Yeah, referee looks as though he got that one right.
So Blum preparing to take a long throw. We haven't seen one of his long throws so far. He's taking some run up. He's dried the ball on his yellow shirt. Long throw inside the penalty area towards the near post, easily dealt with by Ake, and then Grealish will hammer it further away. There's been a goal at St Andrews. Dave Rowe.
Birmingham 0, Hull 2. What a strike by Jayden Philogene, the former Villa youngster, scoring at St Andrews. In from the left-hand side, got the better of Cody Drammer, corner of the penalty area, and flashed his shot beyond Roddy into the bottom corner. Great goal by Philogene. Birmingham 0, Hull 2.
Yeah, it's his second goal for Hull since his move from Villa. And they're looking set fair for a first win in 5. Birmingham still without a goal or a point under Wayne Rooney if it stays like that. Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1, Plymouth 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Preston 2, Southampton 1, Rotherham 1, Coventry 0, and Stoke 0, Leeds 0. They're an hour in that game. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Now we just passed the hour mark in this one. Young Boys 1, Manchester City 1 on Talksport. Young Boys motoring forward again. Itten. And preparing to hit one from distance. Oh, Ederson, it swerved in the air. He got his hands behind it and was able to beat it clear. It was unorthodox and looked awkward. Then the ball comes back inside the box. Montero's control was poor. That one cleared by the City back line as well. but they backed off and let Cedric in and have a go from distance, and he got plenty of cut spin on the ball, which almost deceived Edison.
Yeah, I thought from that distance,
as Montero tries to flick it in for Itten again, but City can clear.
Yeah, from that distance I thought he was chancing his arm a little bit too far, but the bend on the ball, and Edison done well, moving one way and just got back the other just to parry away.
He got 23 goals last season, and he struggled in his time at Ibrox. He only got 8 in a rate of 1 every 6 games when he was playing for Rangers, but 23 goals last season for young boys, and he's got 7 in 9 starts this season. The first yellow card of the night is shown to Camara, the young boys' skipper. The centre-half has fouled Grealish, and it's a free kick that will be taken on the City left.
Yeah, Camara there, just off the ground, both feet, just cleared Grealish out, jumped up and was remonstrating with his teammate for putting him in a bit of trouble.
So the Guinean international, the young boys' skipper, the first player to be cautioned tonight. 1-1 the scoreline. A reminder that coming up tomorrow, more European action on Talksport 2 as West Ham look to maintain their 100% record in their Europa League group. They're away to Olympiacos, and it kicks off at 5:45 on Talksport 2. And we've got 2 Premier League games for you. West London derby between Chelsea and Brentford Saturday. It's a 12:30 start, game day exclusive. Build-up starts at 11. As Jack Grealish picks it up for City here and waltzes into a shooting position, a right-footed effort that was blocked. Might get a second bite of the cherry, tries to thread it through, and the referee's given a penalty.
Yeah, late challenge there. Grealish done really well cutting in, looking to unload a shot. And I think it was Rodri just got there before the defender. And I'm pretty sure that was a penalty, to be honest. We'll have a look at the replay on that. Rodri done well. Just got there before the defender. A little bit harsh, but I'm afraid from a defensive point of view, Camara it was, who was booked seconds earlier, has now given a penalty away.
Yeah, just trying to flick it back towards Grealish, and Camara came in and stood on the top of his foot. And Rodri went to ground, and the penalty is given. And a chance, you would imagine, for Erling Haaland to get into double figures for the season, but to break this Champions League goal drought that he's in. Drought with a small d by his standards. It has been checked, of course, but the check is over. No doubt that there was contact from Camara on Rodri. So what can Haaland do from the spot? Has missed one this season. Away to Sheffield United. But midway through the second half here, can he restore Manchester City's lead? Goalkeeper Anthony Racioppi, former Lyon man, bouncing up and down on his line, just moving left to right, trying to get into the head of Haaland. Haaland places the ball, going through his routine, just wipes his lips with his left hand, stands right by the ball, now takes 2, 3, 4, 5.5 steps back, and he will run up, he will address the ball, he hits it, left-footed, straight past Racioppi, and into the net to give Manchester City a 2-1 lead, and Haaland has his first Champions League goal in 6 games.
Yeah, really good penalty there, just waited, the goalkeeper's just gone to his left a little bit too soon, and Haaland's drove, well, I tell you what, I'm not sure he did drive it down the middle, looking at the replay there. The goalkeeper's gone the right way and just fluffed his lines. He's got 2 hands on it, but just fluffed his lines.
Well, midway through the second half, City's lead is restored. And the camera, as it so often does, pans to Alfie Haaland. Everybody in front of him, up celebrating. Alfie didn't quite roll his eyes, but I think he knows that there was a little bit of luck involved in that. It wasn't the most convincing penalty he's ever seen his son hit. Bottom line is that it's gone in. It is Haaland's 10th goal of the season, his 62nd in 67 games for Manchester City. And they lead it by 2-1 midway through the second half. Back to St James's, Steve Harmison.
Yeah, Newcastle 0. Borussia Dortmund 1. As Newcastle have a chance, Sandro Tonali, a lot has been talked about him this week. He is on the pitch, probably his for the last time in a long time, but the chance just broke. But Sandro Tonali on in reinforcements for Newcastle. Newcastle 0, Dortmund 1.
Newcastle looking for a response. City have been able to find one. They lead by 2-1. Celtic, remember, 2-2 in a game they twice led at home to Atletico Madrid. In the Championship, goes from bad to worse for Sheffield Wednesday, who are 3-0 down at Plymouth now. And that'll be 3 points from 13 games at the end of the night. No wins in 15 in all competitions, and only 1 goal in 9 games. Danny Roll, the former Germany assistant who's on the coaching staff at Southampton at one stage, he's got an almighty job ahead of him. Plymouth leading by 3-0, and that will give them a fair bit of a cushion above the bottom 3 in the Championships. Good result for Steve Schumacher's men tonight. Young Boys 1, Manchester City 2 in this one. Ake laying the ball forward into the feet of Jack Grealish, who can turn inside the centre circle. Slips it off to his right-hand side for Akanji, who will make his way forward. Akanji working through the midfield towards Haaland, the scorer of what at the moment is the match-winning goal. Lays it down for Ake. Good movement from Haaland off the ball. He wanted a first-time pass from Kovacic. It wasn't forthcoming. Kovacic and Ake just exchange passes. Ake looking to work it forward, knows that he can't go for Haaland because he's in an offside position, so he plays it deeper instead for Diaz, and Diaz will find Akanji.
Yeah, I don't know in this campaign at the moment whether City will be a little bit frustrated that they have conceded goals in the campaign, but certainly if they come away from here on maximum points, job done.
Yep, couple of 3-1 wins coming into this one. Here's Kovacic trying to make this one 3-1, but just tried to nutmeg Nias and it didn't come off, and he'll be able to bring it away. Itten played back out towards Zugranic on the Young Boys' right-hand side. He plays it back towards halfway. City have got their defensive shape back, and Lewis, when they are defending like this in open play, Lewis will just drop in as a conventional and orthodox right back alongside Akanji. But so much of the time he's playing in midfield. He's had another solid game, a couple of passes going astray tonight, but he's not had the monopoly on that on this slightly difficult playing surface. City are going to make changes in a moment, and we're going to be seeing Bernardo Silva come on. We may well be seeing Alvarez come on as well. 2-1 Manchester City lead with 20 minutes to go. Porto 3-1 up now in Belgium away to Antwerp. All of their goals have come in the second half. Rico Lewis for City. Between the lines for Mateus Nunes. Outside him is Doku. Doku right hand side of the box. Haaland trying to get in. Haaland on the slide, and he's put it wide.
Wow, I've got to say, really good wing play there. Once again, Nunes receiving the ball in a wonderful little area. He's played the ball to Doku, not to feet on this occasion, in behind the back line. He's pulled it across, and well, I can lip read Haaland, but I can't pass on what he's just said to everybody. It's fair to say he's a little bit disappointed with the fact he's missed another one. He could have had 4 tonight, Jim.
He could have had 4. It could have been worse for him because he could have seen the penalty saved. So it's just been one of those nights. But the bottom line is that he's got the winner as things stand at the moment, his 10th goal of the season. So we're going to see changes. Alvarez and Bernardo Silva, the men coming on.
Yeah, I think they'll give the team a lift. Doku, one of the ones coming off. I think he's had a decent night, probably more so in the first half. I think he was a touch more effective, but certainly the last interaction he had was very, very good. And Nunes is coming off, and I thought he done quite well, especially in the first half, getting into really good positions to receive that caused Young Boys a problem.
18 to go, the changes made. Young Boys making changes as well. John Montero among the players coming off. Let's get a quick update from David Tanner at Celtic.
69 minutes gone, it's still Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 2. Celtic have just made a change. Nat Phillips, centre-back on loan from Liverpool, has replaced wideman Luis Palma as Brendan Rodgers has switched to a back 3. Let's see how that does for Celtic in the final 20 minutes or so. Celtic 2, Atletico 2.
So a double change for Manchester City, a double change for Young Boys as well, with Gamvula and Same, the players coming on. John Montero and Itten, the men that have gone off. And Same got 30 goals last season, including a couple in the cup final. 7 in 7 starts in this campaign as well. He's come off the bench tonight to try and shake things up front. The very tall striker, he's 6'4", 6'5", making his way towards the edge of the penalty area now, and Kovacic has gone with him. Ball angled inside the box, and Diaz can head it away, and then it's cleared. A high right-footed up and under from Rodri as Elliott, the young boys' goal scorer, trying to buy a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area. City will get it upfield and break quickly, but it wasn't a good ball from Bernardo Silva, of all people, as he looked for Haaland, and it's easily cleared.
Yeah, good break there. Haaland setting it up, then galloping beyond the back line, but the pass from Silva, very unlike him, wasn't the best.
Grealish to his right-hand side for Alvarez. There's another young boys player who's down hurt. Play goes on. Alvarez slips it into the bottom left-hand corner. At the moment it stands, City leading by 3-1, and Alvarez on the score sheet within a minute and a half of coming off the bench. What an acquisition he has been for Manchester City. The young boys fans and players absolutely furious because they felt that it should have been a free kick in the previous passage of play. Rodri, the Manchester City player involved as Niasse went down hurt. The City played to the whistle, and Alvarez on the end of a through ball slipped it into the bottom left-hand corner. Young boys also thought there was a handball in there, but nothing's been given as yet, and City lead it 3-1.
Yeah, as I say, young boys I think they're off expecting the game to stop because of the potential injury, and then certainly for a potential handball they were expecting the game to stop, but City played on, and Alvarez, as he often does, has really, really good impact, and there's a goal check going on now and a review of it.
And the referee has been asked to come across and have a look at the monitor, and history would suggest that possibly more often than not that means that the decision might be revoked. We'll find out. They're having a look at the challenge in the previous phase of play and whether Jack Grealish controlled the ball with his hand. Now, Grealish wasn't the goal scorer, so if that's deemed to be an accidental handball, then the goal might still stand. But the referee has had a look at the monitor and he's made up his mind. He's coming back and he's going to disallow it. Handball by Grealish. And it's back to 2-1.
This is interesting for me because there's no way that was intentional. It's gone through Grealish's legs and it's bounced up and hit his hand. But probably about 20 minutes earlier, Grealish has miscontrolled one in his own box that's bounced up and hit his hand, and the referee's played on that one.
Well, the young boys players were absolutely adamant. They appealed instantly. Grealish's left hand did almost involuntarily go down towards the ball, and the referee clearly deciding that he's gained a very significant advantage by that. Maybe that there was a bit of intent as well. That wasn't how Pep saw it. If it's an accidental handball, providing Grealish isn't the man that scores the goal, then ordinarily you would expect it to stand. Had he been the man that scored it, it would have been chalked off. City on the front foot again, leading by 2-1 rather than 3-1. Bernardo Silva winning a throw, to be taken about 7 yards from the corner flag. We've got 14 minutes to go. Leipzig 2, Red Star Belgrade 1. Marko Stamanic pulling one back. It's still 0-0 at Stoke, but it might not be for much longer. Adam Bridge.
It is, Jim, because the penalty's been missed. It's Stoke 0, Leeds 0. Patrick Bamford, he's only been on as a substitute for 3 or 4 minutes. He was the player fouled. Clear penalty. Paul Tierney giving it. He's put it over the crossbar. He's now missed it. They've scored one of their last 4 leads. Dreadful. It's still Stoke 0, Leeds 0 with 15 minutes to play.
Leeds third in the table, looking for a 4th straight win. Missing a golden opportunity. Bamford still yet to score a goal this season. And Stoke have lost 4 of the last 6. Get a lifeline. Young Boys 1, Manchester City 2. A reminder coming up this weekend for you on Talksport. Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou finally facing off in Saudi Arabia, and we've got a team out in Riyadh. Daily updates and a live watch along with Adam Catterall, Spencer Oliver and heavyweight Johnny Fisher on the night from 9 o'clock. You can head over to the Talksport Boxing YouTube channel to follow all the action in the build-up to Fury against Ngannou. Rodri towards the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Slips it into the feet of Alvarez. Alvarez will come back outside the box and go back towards Ake. Ake in towards Kovacic. Kovacic trying to roll his man. Camara, the centre-half who's been booked, goes down towards Jack Grealish here on the City left. City leading by 2-1 with 12 minutes remaining. Ake goes back inside his own half for Ruben Dias. Dias getting it forward for Rodri. And Rodri now out towards the Manchester City right-hand side again. Well, they've been comfortable control. There have been very few chances proffered to young boys as they seek an equaliser. But City would love just a little bit of insurance here.
Well, they certainly would. The one thing that City miss, we lose track of the fact they've got so much talent in the squad, but probably their star player, potentially, De Bruyne, and I think they'll miss him over time, Jim. I really do. He's that good.
Oh, here's Haaland, played in by Lewis. Goalkeeper's come out. Haaland can't get it past him. Kovacic will try and get in there. Lewis does as well. And it's just cleared. And Haaland hasn't been on song tonight. He said he could have had 4. He should have had 5 now.
Oh, that might well have been the easiest chance of the lot. It really was.
Now Gamvula. Off the bench for young boys. For Elia, right-footed effort from him is blocked and spins away and goes over the touchline and out of play for a young boy's throw. But it came for Haaland. The goalkeeper got himself completely stranded, but Haaland didn't get an effective shot in at all.
No, he certainly didn't. Great movement by him. Poor defending, I've got to say, and he took it to the side of the goalkeeper, but probably too wide. Goalkeeper managed to get back and get a leg to it, and the frustration that Haaland's showing tells you everything, basically.
Now more changes being made by young boys. We'll go back to St James's Park. Steve Harmison.
Yeah, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. 77 minutes on the clock. It's all Newcastle. Newcastle are really playing attack versus a very resolute. The defence of Borussia Dortmund as Matt Targett comes into the box and doesn't quite get under his feet. Newcastle have really had the last 10 minutes of really on top. And unfortunately, they just can't make that chance, can't make that breakthrough. Sandro Tonali is playing like somebody who potentially has 10 months off. He's driving Newcastle forward. Newcastle 0, Dortmund 1.
So Newcastle still trying to get themselves back on level terms. Now the other game in that group, PSG 2, Milan 0, live for you right now on Talksport 2. A triple change made by young boys who've taken off Blum, Lauper and Garcia in a bid to try and get themselves back into this game. And they brought on Malesh, Yanko and Persson. Here's Rodri. Back for Ruben Dias. Manchester City 10 minutes away from maintaining their 100% record and taking it to the halfway stage in this group. Alvarez with a great ball for, beautifully taken under control by Grealish. Grealish towards the edge of the area, right-footed effort, right down the middle of the goal and easily saved.
Really good first take, first touch by Grealish, opened the goal up and then just couldn't get enough curl or accuracy on the pass, or should I say the shot.
A rare win for Rotherham on the cards. They're 2 up at home to Coventry. Ollie Rathbone has got the second in stoppage time. And it's Rotherham 2, Coventry City 0. Full-time whistles about to blow in the majority of the championship games, and details of them as soon as they do. Grealish. Alvarez, Grealish showing for the pass. Alvarez lost it and tried to win it back. It'll be brought under control by Ugrinic, and Ugrinic takes it down towards the left-hand touchline. Young boys doing what they can to try and get themselves back into this game, having to gamble a little bit. There will be more spaces at the back as a result of that, but they're in possession on the right-hand side with Sedi Yanko, the former Celtic, Bolton and Manchester United player who's come on. He goes back towards halfway for Camara. And Camara slips it out to the left. The deadlock has now been broken at Stoke, at a bridge.
It's Stoke 1, Leeds 0. Wesley with his first goal. The Brazilian forward signed from Aston Villa. Corner swung into the box. Header hit the crossbar, came back to him, and he popped it home for Stoke, who've punished Leeds for the penalty miss. 10 to go. Stoke 1, Leeds 0.
Yeah, how important that Patrick Bamford penalty miss looks now. Grealish inside his own half, withstanding the physical advances of Gamvula and winning it back. He then had players in yellow and black all around him, but was still able to play the pass. Ake to Edison. Edison not phased, never is, by the pressure coming in from Nsame. And Manchester City can play very effectively through the lines and get into young boys' territory here. Kovacic to Jack Grealish. Grealish to his right for Rodri. Rodri chipping one out towards the right-hand touchline for Bernardo Silva. Coming up on Saturday, 2 live Premier League games for you on the network. Chelsea against Brentford, the West London derby at 12:30, and then at 3, Bournemouth against Burnley, 19th against 18th in the Premier League. 2 sides are between them have won 1 league game out of 18 this season. And it's Bournemouth-Burnley, a 3 o'clock kickoff on Talksport 2. Here's Rodri. Rodri going back towards halfway. Ruben Dias will pick it up inside the centre circle. He'll go even deeper and get it back to his goalkeeper. And an opportunity for Ederson just to play it out towards Ake. Manchester City effectively seeing out time now.
Yeah, they are more than comfortable on the ball. City just working it through the thirds, and they'll be happy for the clock to run down.
Alvarez has it. At the right-hand side of the penalty area, Bernardo Silva across the face of goal, and it whistles only just wide. Really good attempt from Bernardo Silva, but he can't supply Manchester City with that third goal to make the points absolutely safe. Full-time whistle's gone at Ashton Gate. Lawrence Mora.
Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1. Leicester's lead at the top of the table is cut to 5 points. The winning goal on 16 minutes. Nathan Broadhead flashing the ball into the far corner of the net. There were big chances for Ipswich after that, but right at the end, Bristol City could have equalised. Cornick's shot rolling across the line before being hacked clear. Ipswich 7 wins from 8 games. Bristol City 0, Ipswich 1.
And consolidating second place, 7 points inside the top 2. 5 adrift of Leicester with a game in hand. It's also finished Rotherham 2, Coventry 0. Rotherham up above Queen's Park Rangers into 22nd. It's only their second win of the season. 6 minutes to go. Young Boys 1, Manchester City 2. And Young Boys again trying to get it forward on the front foot into the feet of Nsame. Nsame taking it on the half turn. Laid out towards Elia, played round the corner by Ugrinic. But Manchester City just diligently shifting across from the right-hand side of the pitch to the left as the line of attack changes. Played out towards Sedi Yanko. Yanko, right-footed ball, curved inside the penalty area, slightly mishit cross, and forced Ederson to trot across his line very quickly and save at the near post.
Yeah, very aggressive position there by Ederson to take the cross, and when he sliced the attempted cross, he done well to retrieve the effort on goal.
There's been a red card at Celtic. David Tanner.
Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 2, and the Spaniards will play the last 8 minutes with just 10 men. World Cup winner Rodrigo de Paul has been sent off for a second yellow card. Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid with 10 men 2.
Bernardo Silva, Alvarez towards the edge of the penalty area. Manchester City leading this 2-1. Rico Lewis to his left-hand side for Rodri clipping it forward. Haaland onto his right foot. There's his second, and the points are safe. Erling Haaland bringing the ball down and firing it into the top right-hand corner. Job done. It may be a third successive 3-1 win in the group stage of the Champions League for Manchester City. And Haaland, who came into tonight on the back of 5 without a goal in this competition, has 2 in the space of a quarter of an hour.
Normal service is resumed for Haaland, and a brilliant finish. Moved off to his left to receive it, dragged it back onto his right foot, opened the goal up and fed it into the top corner. Great finish.
Erling Haaland's 11th of the season. It's Young Boys 1, Manchester City 3. A goal at Preston. Graham Beecroft.
Incredible. Deep into added time. The Southampton goalkeeper Gavin Bazanu raced from his goal away to the right-hand side, up to the end where the Southampton supporters are stacked. The ball came across, and there was Bazanu to head down and into the back of the net, and Southampton have saved the point. Preston 2, Southampton 2.
Well, what a big moment that is. A goal from Southampton goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu. 2-2. They've had a habit of scoring late goals this season, and back on level terms right at the end of that game. And that's a point that would take them up into the top 5 and stop Preston going into the top 3. Here's Nathan Ake. Ake controlling it, laying it through the midfield once more. It's full time at Birmingham. We'll hear from Dave Rowe in a moment about Hull's win as Bernardo Silva brings it forward for Manchester City. 3 to go. Newcastle still trailing 1-0. Manchester City in complete control, leading this 3-1. Celtic 2-2 at home to 10 men of Atletico Madrid. Grealish down the left-hand side of the box for Kovacic. Kovacic slipped into the edge of the box. That Gavin Bazunu goal now has been credited as a Ched Evans own goal, incidentally, although I'm sure Bazunu will still be claiming it. Kovacic. Another opportunity for him to drive forward. 2 to go. Racing towards the edge of the box, turning and working it back towards Nathan Ake. So we'll get full-time details from St Andrews, Dave Rowe.
Birmingham 0, Hull 2. Great result for Hull and completely deserved the opener on 12 minutes. Terrible back pass by Longero. Liam Delap came in to round Ruddy and score. Hull then missed a string of chances for a second. Ruddy by far the busier keeper, but he could do nothing to stop a fabulous strike by Jaden Finnegan on 74. In from the left and firing the shot into the bottom corner. Sweet moment there for the ex-Villa youngster. Hull up to 8th place. Birmingham under Rooney. Played 2, lost 2, no goals. Loads of questions. Birmingham 0, Hull 2.
And full-time at Deepdale as well, Graham Beecroft.
Preston North End 2, Southampton 2, 1-0 down at half-time. Preston turned things around in the second half when they came out with pace and purpose after the break. A superb Water-Peters shot, left-footed from the right, had put the visitors in front, but it was record signer Militon Omic who got the equaliser immediately after coming on. An accurate low drive from the edge of the penalty area. The home fans didn't have to wait long for what they thought would have been a crucial second for their team. Indeed, it was in some ways. It was a super counter-attack. Brad Potts finishing off, but right at the end, drama as the Southampton goalkeeper came forward and Gavin Bazanu got a header. Who got the last touch? We shall have to debate that later on, but it's finished. Preston North End 2, Southampton 2.
So 2-2, that one finishes. Plymouth have beaten Sheffield Wednesday by 3 goals to 0. Manchester City have just taken Erling Haaland off, and Sergio Gomez is coming off, Stuart.
Yeah, that is the mark of Haaland, really. He's missed 3 or 4 chances that frustrated the life out of him, but when he's there for the 5th one, he never goes under.
Rodri has come off for City as well. Back to St James's, Steve Harmison.
Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. 3 minutes left, and Newcastle have just hit the bar. Free kick from Kieran Trippier. Ball floated in. It was Jamal Lascelles, Newcastle captain, with a glancing header. Keeper just stood there watching it in slow motion. Ball bounces off the bar, back into play. Newcastle disappointed that nobody was following up. Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1.
PSG have got a third at home to Milan in the other game in that group. Lee Kang-in with the goal for PSG, who are going to be top of the group tonight, seemingly. We've gone into 5 minutes of added time, with Manchester City leading against Young Boys by 3 goals to 1. And the ball is out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Manchester City left-hand side. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it's been, listen, workmanlike for City tonight. They haven't been as clinical as they would have liked, but it's been workmanlike at this moment in time. A 3-1 victory, 9 points, top of the group, and they'll be absolutely delighted with that. As it looks, we don't look as though we had too many injuries for City, if any, and they'll go into the Manchester derby in a very good position in the Champions League.
So they made a double change. Haaland has come off and Sergio Gomez has replaced him. So Alvarez is playing further forward, and Calvin Phillips has come on to replace Rodri for a rare Champions League appearance. Just 50 minutes of Champions League football in his Manchester City career today. Here's Grealish. City looking to set the seal on it with goal number 4. Sergio Gomez finding Kovacic. We've got 3.5 minutes of stoppage time to go. Back it goes for Phillips, wearing 4 for City. And now Gomez out to the Manchester City right-hand side for Akanji. Akanji taking a touch, working it back inside. Gomez again to Rico Lewis. So another solid evening. Lewis with movement ahead of him. Goes back once more for Diaz. Diaz to Gomez trying to turn, and he's gone down. It's a free kick which will be taken by Manchester City on halfway. Calvin Phillips, the player that's fouled. Back to St James's. Steve Harmison, any sign?
Yeah, Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1. We're waiting on the board coming up for the injury time, and Newcastle have just got a free kick in a dangerous area. Anthony Gordon's been fouled right on the touchline, about 10 yards out from goal. You know, just about right on the left-hand corner flag. Kieran Trippier will take the free kick. Newcastle have looked dangerous at set pieces, but Newcastle have huffed and puffed in the last 10-15 minutes, have pushed against a really, really resolute Dortmund defence. But at this minute in time, 4 minutes of injury time to go. Newcastle 0, Dortmund 1.
Still Manchester City leading by 3 goals to 1. Any sign of a winner at Celtic, David Tanner?
We're into the final minute of the 90 now, and Joe Hart has just blocked an effort by Correa, with his feet and kept Celtic level. And here's a header now towards Joe Hart, but it goes out for a goal kick. It's Celtic 2, Atletico Madrid 2, 90 minutes on the clock.
City winning it back in the midfield. Very industrious play by Calvin Phillips, but he's just caught his man, and Marlej has a free kick. Haaland, with the camera panning to him, just in consultation with Mateus Nunes on the bench, just showing a few little battle scars of this artificial surface, which has possibly taken a little bit of skin off in various places. City able to bring it forward with Grealish. Play towards the edge of the penalty area. Alvarez has got it now. He's just waiting for a little bit of movement. Grealish back on the edge of the D. 6 in yellow and black ahead of him. Finds Bernardo Silva. Back from him to Kovacic. Now to Phillips. Phillips back for Ruben Dias. And City just calming things down, having made a lively break towards the edge of the box, slow it back down to walking pace. It's all about keeping possession and running the clock down with a minute to go.
Yeah, it certainly is. As I say, City didn't look too interested in getting another goal then once the opportunity had sort of squandered itself. It was just a case of keeping the ball.
What's the biggest positive for Manchester City tonight, aside from the result, obviously?
No injuries. I think when you're at this stage of the league season, you've got a Manchester derby coming up the weekend, you think 3 points and no injuries. That's all I'm looking for out of the game. If you're Pep and he's how it looks as though he's got exactly that.
And so we'll take Manchester City up to 9 points. Leipzig will be on 6. They lead by 3-1 against Red Star Belgrade. They're in stoppage time in that game as well. But City with one more chance to be able to bring it forward. Lewis with a dynamic run to the left of the penalty area. Jack Grealish played in by Alvarez. Grealish will want to try and get it onto his right foot. Sets up Alvarez instead. Good save from the goalkeeper, who's beaten it out as far as Grealish. 6 yards out. He tries to set him up another time. Sergio Gomez with the effort. That one might have been going wide, but was blocked anyway. And the loose ball ricochets Grealish's way out towards the left-hand touchline. 5 minutes of stoppage time are up. Alvarez taking it on, slipping it into the feet of Ake. Ake to Grealish. One more chance for Manchester City. Potentially, the Grealish turns away and the referee signals the end of the game. Third successive 3-1 win for Manchester City. 0-0 at half-time. It was a little bit workmanlike in the first half. Akanji with the breakthrough. Young boys quickly back on level terms. The 2 Erling Haaland goals, one from the spot and one a really good finish. 4 minutes from time have got the job done, and City are coasting Group G. Young boys 1, Manchester City 3.